Good day, everyone. I'm Shuhua with Matri number 288034. In this video, our firm 18, will present to you about role of superior courts and high courts in overseeing or ordering the transfer of cases across different jurisdictions. To kick off the presentation, let's take a look at the overview of the judicial hierarchy in Malaysia. The judicial hierarchy in Malaysia is a multi-tier system comprising both superior and subordinate courts. The superior courts are the Federal Court, the Court of Appeal, and the High Court, while the subordinate courts are the Sessions Court and the Magistrate Court. The jurisdiction of each court is determined by the Subordinate Courts Act 1948 and the Courts of Judication Act 1964. The High Courts in Malaysia, as outlined in Sections 22, subsection 1, 23, subsection 1 and 2, and 24 of the Court of Judication Act 1964, are authorized to hear all criminal cases, including those carrying the death penalty and those exceeding the jurisdiction of the magistrates and sessions court. They also have the power to review criminal appeals from subordinate courts. There are two types of case transfers in Malaysia, which are vertical transfer and lateral transfer. A vertical transfer occurs when a case is moved from one court to another of different powers but within the same jurisdiction, such as transferring a case from a magistrate's court to a high court. In contrast, a lateral transfer involves moving a case to another court with the same powers but in a different local jurisdiction, like transferring from one magistrate court to another magistrate court in different local jurisdiction. Why is case transfer so important? Firstly, it can ensure impartiality and fairness. If there are concerns about potential bias or prejudice in a particular court or jurisdiction, transferring a case to a different location can help ensure a fair and impartial trial. Next, it can protect witnesses and victims. In cases involving sensitive issues or threats to witnesses or victims, transferring the case to a different jurisdiction can help protect their safety and encourage them to testify without fear of intimidation or retaliation. Moving on, case transfer is important for an efficient case management. Transferring cases can help distribute the workload among different courts, reducing backlogs and ensuring timely trials. In cases requiring specialized expertise, transferring the case to a court with the necessary knowledge and resources can lead to a more efficient and effective trial. Last but not least, case transfer can build public confidence and trust in the judiciary. Transferring cases can demonstrate a commitment to transparency and accountability, reassuring the public that the justice system is functioning fairly and impartially in cases where public trust in the justice system has been eroded. That's all from me, and let's hear from Noreen about jurisdiction and powers of the superior courts and high courts in case transfer. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Noreen Ilana binti Bidin, matrix number 288304. Under section 417 of Criminal Procedure Code, the High Court is empowered to transfer a criminal case that is pending in one court to another court of equal or higher jurisdiction. Section 417 Clause 2 specifies 4 circumstances under which the High Court may carry out such transfer. Firstly, based on the report from lower court. Secondly, an application from the public prosecutor. Thirdly, an application from the accused. Fourthly, or the initiative of the High Court itself. The grounds for transferring a case include situations where a fair and impartial trial cannot be conducted in the subordinate court, when there is likely to be a question of law that is particularly complex, if the trial should take place near the crime scene, if it is more convenient for the parties or witnesses involved, or if it serves the interests of justice. The Court of Appeal has the authority to hear and decide appeals in civil suits from any High Court judgment or order across Malaysia, as stated in Article 121, Clause 1B of the Federal Constitution. It also hears criminal appeals from the High Court. The Federal Court serves as the ultimate court of appeal for civil and criminal matters, determining the validity of laws, resolving disputes between states or between the state and the federal government, and addressing legal questions from other courts. Additionally, it provides opinions to the Yang di-Pertuan Agong on constitutional issues and hear appeals from both of the Court of Appeal and the High Court. However, despite the High Court has the authority to transfer cases between courts of equal or higher jurisdiction under Section 417 of Criminal Procedure Code, this applies only to transfers between subordinate courts and the High Court. The Court of Appeal primarily handles appeals from decisions made by the High Court and does not have the power to accept cases directly from the High Court before a judgment is decided. Once a case is in the High Court, it is seized with jurisdiction, and any transfer to the Court of Appeal can only occur after a judgment has been made and appeal is filed. Thus, the procedural framework ensures that all matters are fully educated at the initial level before being escalated to the appellate level. Even so, despite not being able to transfer cases between superior courts, the High Court judges can pause the proceeding to wait for a decision from the Federal Court, particularly if the question arises about the meaning of a constitutional provision during a case as per Section 84 and 85 Court Judicature Act 1964. This can happen either on the judge's own initiative or at the request of any parties involved in the case. The judge will determine when to stay the proceeding based on what needs to be resolved to help the Federal Court answer the constitutional question. Once a stay is ordered, the judge must clearly state the constitutional question in a way that allows for a yes or a no answer and send it to the Federal Court. The Federal Court will then handle the question like an appeal. And after making its decision, the High Court will continue with the case based on the further court's ruling.
Good day everyone, my name is Nurlisa Idayu, matrix number 287906, and today I will discuss two landmark cases that define the role of higher courts in overseeing or ordering the transfer of cases across jurisdictions, which is the case of Public Prosecutor and Dato' Yap Bank and the case of Dato' Haji Harun bin Idris and Public Prosecutor. Now let's start with Dato' Yap Bank. In this case, the public prosecutor issued a certificate under Section 418A of the Criminal Procedure Code to transfer the case to the High Court. The respondent challenged this, arguing that it violated Article 121, Clause 1 of the Federal Constitution, which vests judicial power exclusively in the courts. The Supreme Court agreed, declaring Section 408A was unconstitutional. The court ruled that judicial power, including case transfers, is inherently judicial and cannot be exercised by the executive branch. This case reinforced judicial independence, highlighting the separation of powers to protect the integrity of legal proceedings. Next, in Dato' Haji Harun bin Idris, the appellant, the Menteri Besar of Selangor, faced corruption charges and sought to invalidate the transfer of his case to the High Court under Section 418A. Unlike Dato' Yap Peng, the court upheld the validity of Section 418A, citing its uniform application and the Attorney General's discretion under Article 145.3 to expedite the trials in cases of public importance or complexity. This case emphasized the necessity of procedural mechanisms like case transfers to balance administrative efficiency with fairness. Together, these cases demonstrate the judiciary's dual responsibility to uphold constitutional principles and adapt processes to meet the demands of justice. While Dato' Yap Bank protect judicial independence, Dato' Haji Harun recognized the practical need for expedient trials in exceptional circumstances. Both cases underscore the importance of case transfers in ensuring that justice is not only done but is seen to be done, especially in high stakes or complex matters. Thank you. In conclusion, The Superior and High Courts hold a critical responsibility in ensuring justice, fairness, and efficiency through their oversight and ability to order case transfers across jurisdictions. This role is essential to safeguard the integrity of legal proceedings, particularly in cases involving public interest, complex issues, or potential bias. Landmark cases such as Public Prosecutor and Dato Yap Peng and Dato Haji Harun bin Idris and Public Prosecutor highlight how judicial discretion and statutory provisions can be effectively employed to uphold constitutional principles and maintain fairness. These cases illustrate the judiciary's commitment to preserve judicial independence and balancing administrative efficiency with the need for impartiality. As we look to the future, the increasing reliance on technology will likely influence how courts manage and transfer cases. Virtual hearings and advanced communicational tools could further enhance efficiency while maintaining fairness. However, the courts must continue to ensure that these advancements do not compromise access to justice or procedural integrity. Ultimately, the judiciary's ability to adapt to societal and procedural changes will remain central to its role as the final arbiter of justice. By balancing expediency with equity, the courts reaffirm their commitment to upholding the rule of law and ensuring that justice is delivered effectively and impartially.